to the channel, and if you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Ray, and today the topic is small amplifiers, specifically cigar box guitar amplifiers. I think messing with pickups and the stuff like that I've been doing, it's inevitable. You're going to be getting interested in messing with amplifiers. So I've started down that road and did a few things to get my feet wet. I pulled out this little headphone amplifier that I got from a musician's friend probably more than 30 years ago. It was a little cheap, inexpensive plastic thing. And I thought, I wonder if I could do anything with that. So I got it out and I took it apart and took the wires loose from the jack for a stereo headphone out. I call it stereo. It was wired to where it would use both channels, but it wasn't stereo, it was mono. But I just connected it to a speaker just to see what would come out. In fact, I connected it to my 1x12 open back cabinet speaker, and it was faint. It was there. You could hear a little something, but it wasn't much. So I knew it would take a much smaller speaker. But anyway, I decided I'd order a couple speakers and try some stuff. And it came out good enough that I decided to go ahead and make a little amp. And this is not a cigar box. This is, in fact, it's a little box that was made for craft stuff or cross stitch stuff. You could put an insert with a cross stitch pillow or something on the top here to make the top for a box. But I turned it, my wife had some in the closet, so I turned it into a little amp. Just took it all apart and cut speaker hole in it, took some mesh, made a little grill. And the little headphone amp, I rewired it. I took the original pots off of it, the original jacks, just removed it all, wired it into a guitar jack, changed out the volume pot for a larger value pot. The ones that come in little audio stuff like this are usually 100K volume pots, or sometimes even 10K. And when you got a guitar with 500K electronics in it, you run it into a 100K pot and you're instantly sending all your treble and everything to ground. It's just not going to work very well. So you can change out that kind of stuff, but you can't go too big because it starts changing the volume curve and your roll off to where all your volume happens in the last 15% of the rotation of the thing. So 500Ks don't usually work good, but 250K seems to work pretty good. You don't lose a lot of your treble response. Some things I've learned just messing with them. But I've got 3 amps here today. These 2 are cigar box guitar, or cigar box amps. They're made out of literal cigar boxes. And they're each different. These 2 are Punch brand boxes. You can see where I had the punch. In testing, I found that they did not sound good with an enclosed box. They sounded better with a somewhat open back, so that's why they're cut out. This one is quite a bit different than the others. We'll get into it as we get to it, but I want to run them all 3 through their paces. I've got my trusty decibel meter, and when I make pickups, I don't always trust my old ears. When I start adjusting the balance, string balance on pickups, I use this. I don't just trust my ears when I go to adjusting the volume balance for each string. And the type of pickups I make, I can adjust the magnet strength to tune the string balance. It's just the way these plate style pickups are made, you can do that. So I use that for that too. But today we're going to use it to evaluate these amps. And this little one, it has a Toshiba chip in it, IC chip. And I got the number off of it and looked it up, and it's literally maximum half a watt. And the maximum voltage this chip can handle is 10 volts. So it's running off a 9-volt wall wart little transformer. The one thing I found on these things is noise, and they each seem to react to noise differently. This one, I'll plug the cord here just so I can show you how much differently they behave. With the transformer, you do not have a solid ground going to the ground of your house wiring. You got this, two plugs. There's no ground. So ground is going to affect it, each one of them a little differently, and that equates to noise. This one, when I turn it wide open, you hear that static noise. I'll get it closer to the microphone so you can really hear it. But as soon as I plug in the cord, with it unplugged to anything else, it's not plugged in on the other end to my pedal board, the volume level goes down. And I've got LED lights overhead and in front of me, so that's adding to the noise. But now, this is the other end of the cord. The noise just almost completely vanishes. But now, when I plug it into my pedal board, and I've only have 2 pedals hooked up right now, the noise level goes back up. And if I turn the volume down, it gets pretty reasonable. And with it wide open, you're getting into distortion stuff. So when to do the test, we're going to do a clean volume, max clean volume, and max everything volume with whatever distortion they make. I think that's a good way to do it. Just see what the max is for everything. And I've also, which makes perfect sense when you think about it, my Cigar box guitar has 3 strings. The pickup output on it is 2 Henrys and 7 point something K resistance, which is almost the exact, they're really close related. My 6-string pickup is right at 2 Henrys inductance with 7 point something, I think about 7.5 K, I think, resistance. So the pickup output is pretty equal for the 2 pickups, the 3 and 4 string pickup and the 6-string pickup. But when you have 6 strings, the volume level is higher. So I have to set this in a max hold. So you can see the screen here. I'm just talking. You can see the decimal meter change it. But when you put it in a max hold, it stays and it registers the loudest note that it registers. If I yell at it like this, then you get, well, I just yelled at it 82 decibels, 82 and a half. But I'll put it in the max hold feature and clear it. And we'll see kind of what, let's find the max for the clean sound here. That's distorting. I'm gonna call that clean. That's not bad. You're not gonna get perfect out of this thing. I don't like the 3-inch speakers. This is a 4-inch speaker, and it's got good sensitivity, so it can make pretty good decibel ratings with 1 watt of power. Sensitivity ratings on speakers matters when you don't have a lot of power. If you got lots of wattage, you don't have to worry about it too much. But on something like this, you worry about your watt ratings and your sensitivity ratings when you start shopping for speakers. Okay, maximum hold. pushing it just a little bit for clean because it's a little dirty. But anyway, 92 decibels for a clean sound, somewhat clean anyway, out of a little rinky-dink thing that's like a half watt. That's not too bad. Let me clear this, and we'll see what the max volume is with the cigar box guitar. .2 max. So that's not super loud, but it's not that quiet either. And as far as tone goes, well, you can decide on that. Well, I guess before I do the change out to the 6-string guitar, just to see what it does there. See what it does with some effects with the cigar box. Yeah, that's not too bad. A little reverb. Try Cloudburst. Not bad for a little tiny amp with a 4-inch speaker that's half watt at best. But yeah, let's just see what the max volumes and stuff is with a 6-string guitar hooked to it. That's not too dirty. We'll go with that for a clean tone. .91 decibels. What did we get a few minutes ago? Was it 89.2 or something like that? So it's a little bit louder with 6-string guitar, even, you know, getting a clean tone. So reset it. Blow my ears out. 96.3. I don't think that's a lot more than what we got with the cigar box. My ears are going to be ringing by the time we get done here. Anyway, let's just see. Not too bad for a little tiny amp. Alright, turn the reverb off. Okay, we'll move on to the next amp. This one here, not because it's the greatest amp in the world, but it has a unique sound, and I really like it. And I think it looks really cool. I painted it in 2 stages, and then distressed it to make it look kind of old, but at the same time not. And it kind of goes with this. My wife got me this shirt recently, and I like the color of this guitar, and I've seen a lot of tellies this color lately online, and I thought, that might be a good color for a box, so that's what color it ended up. But I'm going to keep this. I've had the circuit board in that little headphone amp. The brand of the thing said Volt Revolt 2, VOLTREVOLT, and then 2, Roman numeral 2. I've researched and tried to find anything about it online, and I can't find anything. Not a single picture, not a single mention or anything. But it's kind of neat, and I've had it for 30-something years, so I will not sell this. I'm just going to keep this one for myself, put it on a shelf, and when I feel like messing with it, I'll get it down and play through it. Look, I'll set that one to the side now. Now we can talk about these. A lot of people, when they start out trying to build amps, especially chip amps and stuff, they start out with an LM386 chip. It's been around forever, since, gosh, I don't even know, the 70s. I think they started making it in the 70s. So a lot of people mess around with the Ruby amps, and a lot of the little amps that you've seen online with YouTube channels and stuff, little chip amps, use LM386. Well, just to get my feet wet, I thought, well, let me try and see what. So I looked on Amazon. I found 2 of them for a really bargain price, but they came with a volume pot and jacks already on them as headphone amps. And I knew, just messing with this little blue one, that LM386, especially if you're only running it with 9 volts, you're looking at maximum 3/4 of a watt, and maybe even less. And if you want to talk about max clean sound, you're probably talking less than half a watt, around half a watt. So I thought, I don't want to build another one with just one little rinky-dink speaker, and even though that one does sound pretty good for what it is, I thought, what if I'd use 2 amps in one and power 2 speakers, one power each speaker with an amp, and then wire it into where I have one tone and volume, or one volume control. That was my idea. So that's what I did. I ordered these little circuit boards off of Amazon, and these things are so rinky-dink small, it's unreal. The components, the capacitors and the resistors on this board they're as small as a grain of rice. And they're really little. I don't know if I can get this where you can see down in there, but you can see the 2 circuit boards. And there again, I went with guitar pots, a 250K pot as a volume pot, and that's what I would recommend trying. You do get more of your volume gain right in the last 20% of the knob, but you don't lose as much treble. And if you're playing a cigar box guitar where you have 3 wound strings, you don't want to lose treble. You already got so much bass that you really don't want to lose any treble. But two 4-inch speakers in a little punch cigar box, and with the two Amazon boards. Now, the thing about LM386 chips is they have a gain that is set inside the chip with a resistor, and they do their gain of 0 to 200, 200 being max gain. They set them at the factory with this internal circuit at 20 in order to get a cleaner sound with the at max volume. These boards, I know, are beyond that, and I know that because of messing with, I'll explain later. I know that these have gain circuits added to them to increase that max gain, and I would guesstimate it's somewhere around 100 to 120 on that 0 to 200 scale, because they're louder. When I got adjustable gain on this other one. When I turn the gain all the way down, this one is louder than that one, so I know this gain is above the 20 internal rating. But with on this little circuit board where everything's as small as a grain of rice, I wasn't even going to attempt to try to remove that whatever resistor they put on there to increase it and then replace it with a different one, or solder in wire so I could run it to a gain control. I wasn't even going to try, and but it's not bad the way it is. But we'll put it through its paces now. And to get the most out of them, I'm not running off 9 volts. I'm running it off 12 volts. The maximum on some of these chips is 16, and there's some 386 chips, LM386 chips, that you can run up to 18. But I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to kind of stay safe, and at 12 volts, it's a happy medium because you're always going to have more distortion and more noise with higher voltages. But there again, we got noise to deal with. Plug it in the right side. That's the guitar side. But when you flip this one on at max volume, it's pretty quiet. There's not much noise there, which is different than the other one. Each one of these seem to behave a little differently. Just plugging in the cord and nothing else but the cord, doesn't really change anything. Now when I plug it into the pedal board, now this is something I don't think I covered this a minute ago, and I should have. With pedal boards, if you use a power supply, most of your power supplies have a ground, so that when you plug it in and you plug this into your pedal board through the circuitry and everything, you're literally grounding it to your house wiring, and in most cases it'll make it quieter. But you hear the volume, the noise level just went up. So that's another reason I think that the gain is way beyond the 20 internal regulated gain, because as soon as you turn this down just a little bit, let me get it closer to the speaker here. As soon as you turn it down just a little bit, it starts getting quieter. And you'll notice with the other one, with the adjustable gain, when you turn the gain wide open with the full 200, you get a lot of noise to go along with it. If you're after distortion and everything, I guess it might not matter so much. But if you're recording, it would matter. But just sitting around, messing around, playing. But you can tell the difference. I don't know if you can see the volume knob here, how much I rotate it. So it's definitely there. So if I take this and disconnect this, well, with this at max volume like that. Okay, I've unplugged the cord from the pedal board, and it's quiet. If I plug it into my guitar, it's still quiet. So my pedal board, somehow the interaction between this and my pedal board is causing noise. And in other cases, noise goes away. I don't have an explanation for all that. But if you're not running a pedal board and you're running this amp, it's quiet. Since I've got it turned up here, let's go ahead and do a max volume test on it. .9. So I'll reset it. Okay, let me find a. Sounds pretty clean right there. Let's see what a max clean sounds like, or what it registers. I hope you'll agree that sounds pretty clean. But 94.9 decibels. Let's see what it does with the guitar. Or a different guitar, 6-string. Don't want to give anybody the impression that I think a cigar box guitar is not a guitar. I think they're a lot more serious instrument than most people think. Oh, I didn't plug in my pedal board. I had that direct. And with it turned down, not that much noise plugging into my pedal board. It's that when you got it wide open and full gain, that's when you get the most noise. But, let's see what this looks like. I think it's a little dirty. Okay, that's pretty good. $95. Reset it. hope that's not blowing out the mics too bad. It's going to be really hard to try to adjust the mics to where max volume doesn't just completely blow it out, and then when I'm doing the other test at lower volume, you're not going to be able to hear it very well unless you turn up the volume on your computer. I tried to find a happy medium that kind of works, and I hope I've got it pretty close. I hate to do it, but in editing, I can increase the volume in certain places, and I may have to do that if it's really bad. I don't want to because it kind of throws off the whole thing, but at least in this case, you have the decibel meter to tell you how loud it really is if I do have to do that so you can hear better when at lower volumes where it's cleaner. If you're doing recording, you're going to adjust your mic level for the volume level that you're kicking out to get that clean sound or whatever. So if you're using one of these amps to record with, you don't have that issue. Right now I'm using different volume levels, and it's going to be rough. So I'm going to do the best I can, but I'm not trying to trick anybody or pull any fast ones to make it sound like it's better than it is. There's no point in doing that because I'm going to put these two right here up for sale. I'm going to put them on my website alongside my pickups, and there's no benefit in trying to fool you, because when you get it, you're going to know the truth. Your ear may not be a decibel meter, but I broke my fingernail the other day. I keep getting this muted thing if I don't turn my hand this way. This is different. Let's see what this does. It's too dirty. I don't know. That's a little odd, isn't it? Different. Very different. I need my fingernail back. I need my ears back too. It's a little loud. Okay, let's move on to the next one. But what do you think about the way this thing looks? It's really got the cigar box guitar vibe. And not to put anybody else's down, but these 4-inch speakers with 2 amps, I call it a twin for good reason. I think they sound better than some things that are out there. I think I could actually use it. I mean, I can literally adjust the effects, adjust the guitar the way I want to, and could record into my computer with mics and stuff and do some multi-tracking with it and actually use them, because they're loud enough. If you adjust the mics just right. Okay, this is where everything escalated. I liked what I was coming up with. So I was looking at those little boards with the little tiny grain of rice size capacitors and resistors and all. And I was looking at some of the videos online, some of the different people building LM386 amps and a bunch of other kinds of amps too. I looked at some other chips. A lot of them have a lot more distortion. I'm not a big distortion guy. I like clean for most of my stuff. I like rockabilly and stuff like that, and that's where you want that nice clean sound with a good tank style reverb, and I like that kind of stuff, and I like to do some jazz stuff. I like to be able to use mine for guitars and cigar box guitars, both. So I decided I would try my hand at making my own LM386 circuit. And I printed out a bunch of schematics from different people, because a lot of people do them differently. The Ruby amps are done completely differently. They put a transistor in front of the LM386 chip. And I'm not sure exactly why. I don't really understand it, because it says, from what I've read, it's to be a buffer so that the chip doesn't mess with the electronics in your guitar. I haven't noticed anything like that. I don't really understand how that works, because it doesn't do anything to my guitar that I can tell. But anyway, I got different schematics. I was trying different things. I ordered enough capacitors of different values and resistors of different values to try all these different things. I sat down with all the schematics and made a list of what I would need to try this and try that and try that and try that. And so I did. I got a breadboard. And you can see I've got it stripped right now, other than just I was trying different size pots, and that's a 250K pot, which is why I ended up using that over some of the others. I tried the 10K, the 100K. I didn't like, they just bleed off too much treble to the ground. Amps, what I've learned, I took an basic electronics course right out of high school. That's been a long time ago, so I'm brushing up on a lot of stuff that I've forgotten. But amplifiers, all the amplification happens on the positive side of the circuit. Your negative is just one rail that goes all the way through, and all your capacitors send stuff to ground in order to bias and balance and stuff like that. But I tried all those different ones and the different things on the breadboard and settled on what I like the best. And then I drew it out and put it all on a perf board. Well, my second one. I'll show you the first one later. But this is a perf board with two LM386 circuits on it, set up to where I can attach in a gain loop for a gain control and a volume, so that I control both amps with one volume control, and got it soldered up. Well, this is what's in this. If you can turn it up here and I can get it where you can see, but you can see it down in there. But I've got it wired up with a gain control. This is the gain, this is the volume. I didn't label them. It's only two controls. If you get that confused, play with them. But I'm pretty happy with the way it's come out. I would like to try maybe some other capacitor values in the future if I keep messing with this stuff. I don't know if it's worth the time, but I'm having fun, and that's what this is all about anyway. If I sell these two amps, I'm barely gonna make enough money to cover the cost of what I've spent on all the components that I bought to be able to test and come up with something I like. And that's the way it usually works out. But who knows? If people like them, I might make some more of them. It's just depends. All right, noise levels. That's max volume, zero gain. That's what I'm coming up with right now. Now, when you turn the gain up, this is what I was talking about earlier. How I know that other Amazon chips have the gain higher than the 20 rating. Because when you turn this gain all the way up, the noise level goes up. And I got plenty of LED lights and stuff going in here, so that's going to create more noise. I've done what I can on the inside of it to try to reduce as much noise as I can, but that's everything wide open. Now, let's do the cord test. Both ends of the cord are unplugged. So plug it in. Noise level went down. And that's with the gain down, volume all the way up. If I touch this, it's almost perfectly silent. Now when I plug it into the pedal board, let's see if it goes up louder or quieter. Not a whole lot of difference. But there again, if I turn the gain up, then you get this. See, it's changed a little bit since I plugged it in. But now, think about it. If you had a 100-watt Marshall sitting here and you had the volume turned wide open and you turned the gain wide open, how much noise would you get? It might be a little loud. So, I'm doing extreme examples here. But at low volume, with the gain down, not much there. And that's with the other end, I'm not plugged into anything on the other end, just the pedal board. So if I plug it in here, not much noise. It's pretty quiet. So there is a difference between my circuit and the LM386 circuits that I bought off Amazon, and there's a difference between that and that Toshiba chip and that little blue amp. So they're very different. But at least what I've come up with is, I think, a little better than the Amazon because it's quieter. That's volume wide open, gain all the way down. Now turn the gain all the way up, you still got noise. Gain all the way down. So we can have more fun testing this one because we got more the gain control to play with. That is max volume. And maybe you can hear a difference between my circuit and the other one, the little grain of rice capacitors and stuff. But this is volume wide open, gain all the way down. About you, but I'm hearing a big difference in the amount of clean. I think I'm maxing out my microphone too. It's a little louder. I better just adjust that level down just a little. Clip and that'll just ruin the whole video. Alright, this thing's turned itself off here. So I'm going to call this max clean volume because it's wide open and it's clean. Well, actually, let me turn some gain on just see how far we can go before it starts breaking up. Stick with zero gain. We'll just call that the cleanest it. I mean, for the max volume wide open, that's 100% volume. I've got this amp a little closer than I had it before. Try to be a little honest here. Max Clean, 99. I've got this thing, I was looking at it, and I've got this guitar actually close to the, probably should do that again, because I'm probably, the volume of the actual playing of the guitar is affecting this more, so I should have turned away from it like I did before. Alright, do it one more time. Just reset. Okay, one more time. Didn't really change it much. 100 decibels. Alright, let's go for max. I don't think I need to worry about getting away from it this time, because this is not going to add that much more volume. Cigar box amp. Did I spend enough time on the breadboard? Let me set that. Okay. I'll turn that down. I think some people would call that a clean tone. Pretty clean. Sounds a little dirty to me. That's not bad. Let me turn it down just a little bit. Got the gain all the way down. I'll call that clean. So we'll go for a max volume on that. I guess I'll play Rebelline again. jumped up when I went up the neck a little bit. It was like 96, and it jumped to 97.7 when I went up there and got that 9 chord. Okay, well, I think that sounded pretty clean. And that is with no effects, nothing. It is running through the pedal board, but it's all straight through. Reset. Oh boy, here goes my ears. All for science, right? 107. Let me do it again. I'll play Rebel Lean again. Now, to me, that's pretty much unusable. But the in-betweens, where you volume wide open, this fingernail's really messing with my tone. And we're just messing with clean sounds here. There's no reverb or anything on it. Put some zero gain, max volume. Not too bad. Gain up a little bit. Unique tones. What do you think about this 6-string pickup? I'm not really trying to get good jazz tones out of it, but too much reverb for that. See what the cloudburst does. It's too much. Too much gain. Not bad for a little cigar box amp. I try not to be too proud of it, but yeah, I'm a little bit proud of that circuit that I come up with. I mean, it's a mixture of this one and that one and that one and that one, but hey, not too bad. I hope you agree. I'm really enjoying that new guitar too. It's just my most recent build I just finished. I've got that pickup on 3 guitars now. The exact same pickup, just they look different. This one has an ebony veneer, that one has a lacewood veneer, and this one's an ebony veneer. They're 3 very different guitars. I'm gonna do a video showing what the same pickup sounds like on 3 very different guitars. I think it's going to be an interesting video, especially when you consider just how different the sine wave guitar is with no back and so forth. But anyway, that's another topic. We'll get back on this one. I'm going to put these 2 on my website for sale, where I have my pickups up for sale. And this one, Amazon boards, they were not expensive. I do have a good bit of time in making something, look this good. And it does still, compared to a lot of little small amps, it sounds pretty good. And there's a lot of novelty in cigar box amps to start with, but some of them, I wouldn't spend my money on a 3-inch speaker. It's just not, I haven't had one of those in my hands, but I've watched the videos where people are playing them, and I'm not that impressed. And you may not be impressed with this, but if you could play them side by side, maybe you would like this better. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not going to price this one as high as the other one. The other one has a lot more time in it, because completely handmade circuits with full-size quality components. The speakers are pretty well matched. They're high sensitivity, low wattage speakers. I mean, these are rated at 5 watts, and at best, with the 12-volt power, with the gain all the way up, maybe 2 watts, maybe. 1 watt can make a lot of a lot of sound. My ears are ringing a little now. But yeah, I'm going to sell these 2. And you're thinking, what, you're going to sell those and keep that little rinky-dink thing? That little turquoise box that just doesn't even measure up to these 2? No. I am going to sell those. But I did something else for me. Because I want to use mine for more than just cigar box guitars. I want to be able to use it for recording. Maybe use it in some videos for guitar, regular 6-string guitar videos. Just something different. So I went a little nuts. I've got some of that maple that I've salvaged out of a 100-plus-year-old hutch that was very crudely made. I mean, we're talking square nails, and it was really pretty poorly made as far as skill level of whoever made it. But it was made out of some really nice old maple, and I've been able to plane the boards down and pull all the nails out first. Hopefully, I did miss one and messed up planer blades. I got smart. I've got my metal detector out since then to find the nails. Anyway, I ran out some maple, and it's a little heavy. I did some things to make it different. It weighs about a little over 7 pounds, so it's got a little more mass to it. But the front, I got this ring light really making a mess there. It's clear, and I used some stencils and did some media blasting on it to put the tone and volume and all this different stuff on it, on and off, and put my name on it. And it's an LM386 twin. But I did something a little different with the circuits, and I'll put a close-up picture in here of them just laying on a piece of paper, because it's a little hard to see them. But I didn't use a perf board. I did point-to-point wiring on them, and I mounted them on little pieces of Lexan or polycarbonate, whichever you want to call it. I just tried to be a little artsy-fartsy with it, if you want to, just to make it really unique. But there was also another reason why I decided to make it all clear, and I'll show you that now. And this basically, it is the exact same circuit that's on this perf board. It's the exact same circuit, the same exact design. I just did it with a large piece of copper wire as a ground loop, the ground part of the circuit, and just attached all the components and suspended them in the middle of it. So it looks considerably different, and it took a lot of time. I was kicking myself for having such a dumb idea by the time I got them soldered up. But like I said, it's the exact same circuit as in this, so it sounds almost the same, other than a little bit of difference in the cabinets and a little bit of extra mass. You know, might change the tone of it and all a little bit. But the main thing is I decided to add some LED lights. You can hear it come on. And that's max volume, gain all the way down. So there's a little noise there. Longer wires to wire this up this way, and there's a lot more spread out, so I'm getting a little more noise in it, so I'll just have to put up with that. That's just part of it. But I don't know if you can see. Let me turn this light off just for the moment. But I got red lights lighting up the Lexan pieces with the amp boards, and then blue lights for the rest of it, so it makes it look a little purple when they mix together on the bottom. But it's unique looking. And it's a lot heavier duty. It's a little more serious and a lot more time. But when I plug it up, well, I got this one in the front. It got a little louder, but it's plugged into the pedal board. It's not. If I unplug the other end, yeah, went from that to that, just plugging in the cord. Oh, well, I'm touching the other end of it. That's probably part of it. Not touching it. It went down a little bit. Almost silent when I put my hand on it. But now I plug it into the pedal board, and it got a little noisier. But the other end is not plugged into anything, so yeah. But play a little bit. Let's just see if it does it any louder. I'm gonna move it back a little bit. That's about where That's volume wide open, gain all the way down, just like I tested the other one. Everybody up there is talking. Is that louder? Is that about what I think that's about what we got on the other one. I'll have to look back on the video when I check it out. But yeah, that's kind of neat. Turn it. Ooh, I'm really blowing out the speaker, the microphone. That's no effects. That's just clean. Put some reverb on it. Left it on max. I don't know when it went up. Let's test the maximum volume on it just for a second. My ears ain't gonna take it much more. It's already too loud. I'm getting a little numb in the ears. Hear the noise level go up. Wide open gain. Turn the reverb off. A lot of noise. Just turning the gain out about maybe 5/8. That's what I would consider about probably max usable without distortion. I mean. Cloudburst pedal is something else. Let's see what it sounds like with a guitar. Oh, now I got noise. Put it on the floor. grunt all the time when you move around. Part of it, right? Clean tones. Let's try this other reverb pedal. A little bit more. That's too much. Let me put that on the short setting, take it off the tank. Oh well, enough noodling. Anyway, you get the idea, right? My fingernails giving me a fit. That's what I get for doing stuff and tearing it up before I go to do something like this on a video. Oh, anyway. Now you got to hear my amp. Well, we give the old decibel meter a workout, but mostly my ears, because I'm ringing a little bit now. But I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of cigar box amp stuff. Some really unique stuff. And I've had fun playing with it and messing around with it. I wish my playing was a little better, but between my arthritis and my lack of ability, you get what you get. Especially with a broken fingernail that I can't hardly play with. I usually catch that part of my fingernail to pick with. I can't play with a pick for crap. I'm just awkward with a pick. But I can play with this fingernail good most of the time. But I'm having to turn my hand this way to catch that fingernail, and it's just not working very well. Just not working very well. But I'm going to put links down below to those two cigar box amps on my website. So that if you're thinking about, maybe if you're in the market for something like that, you want something unique for your cigar box guitar, or just to goof off with a regular guitar, that's entirely possible too. Check them out. And got the glitter bomb pickups too on there. This is the gold, and they're in different colors. I didn't play my 4-string that has the blue ones on it, but they are for 3 and 4-string cigar box guitars, and I think they have a good sound to them. And if you don't want to, especially if you have a really thin cigar box that you want to use to build one, you don't have to notch out the beam for a pickup. If you're using the little thin pickup, put it on top. They're a big plus if you're trying to do something like that. Anyway, I'll wrap this up. Thank you for joining me. If you stayed to the end, you deserve a medal. Having to listen to my bad playing. But thank you. And if you like guitar stuff, if you like seeing somebody mess around with all kinds of guitar stuff, subscribe. Thank you.